Welcome to the Counter-Strike Global Offensive UK Premiership. It has been an epic journey leading up to this. 120 teams from all over the UK battled it out. Over the last 7 weeks, they were whittled down to 4 teams that are right here today. On this Sunday, the journey comes to an end. One team will be standing here lifting this trophy, proving themselves the rightful champion. Teams have all to play for. Already 5,000 was given away in the play leading up to this, and there's another 5,000 on the line today. So everything is to be proven. They have to test their mettle. The teams are standing by. They're already ready. But let's take a quick look at how they got here.
Welcome to the spring season of the ESL UK Premiership, where the best teams in the UK battle for 7 grueling weeks for a spot in our live studio playoffs.
They're looking to execute. It's going to be a 5 versus 2 as soon as they bust on out here. The door has been opened. Smokes have come down here as well. Fry's just going to pop on out. Spots one player. Going to try and connect the shots. Gets the headshot down. And now the bomb should follow.
To actually get in. Just grouped up for the meantime. The ranks do begin to come in. Jacob with 2. Wants to go in with a hat-trick. But he'll have a 4K for free on their own side. This is very odd. Roma finds a 2K though. Somehow. And then Reason goes down as well. I'm not too sure how they just managed to pull that off.
It is 2 for 1 though, as Robbie finds through.
There he is.
You said it. He is just going to find those 3 kills. In fact, finds a 4 for himself as well.
We're wasting time. Let's go.
But this is really awkward. Chenko really all does run him. Obviously, one of the star players for that side already. 2K wants to try and turn it into the hat-trick. Finds a headshot up on towards Charlie. And then he able to link it together as well.
I see our enemy. One guy left. Dropped him.
Now Keita going to be charging into the fray, finds 2 for himself, make that 3 as he gets that hat-trick, and now he's going to have to back away from that fight immediately, but there's still 2 CTs remaining and they're both pushing on his position, but he finds one of them, turns around, finishes off the last man. Keita is on fire. I believe in the power of the T-Sac. He got his work cut out, gets 1 headshot, but he's starting to run out of time. He needs to make things happen right now because that bomb is taken away. Does have a defuse kit to work with. He's looking for Red Snake as well. Pops the fake defuse and he's looking for the spray, but Red Snake isn't going to peek just yet. Does finally get it, and he's looking for the defuse. It's going to be close, but I think he's just about got it, and he has. T-Sac with the 4K, the single. Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Caster Desk. My name is Munchables, and joining as ever is going to be Jackie, and we're finally here. We're at the semi-finals. We've made it to playoffs, and as Sean rightly said, 7 grueling weeks of group stages, and as you saw, some pretty crazy stuff happened, but now we've finally made it to LAN, and this is where it will really kick off.
Yeah, this is it, the final step. I mean, everyone's played so hard, they played their hearts out. So much has gone into this, and this is it, the final 4 teams.
Yeah.
This is do or die, Joe.
It absolutely is, and I think one of the big storylines for me is going to be who can step up online. We've got a few new players, but we'll step into all of that good stuff in just a minute. Let's take a look at how the group stages looked, though. Obviously, we saw a recap of the actual gameplay, but let's see how the teams looked at the end of the group stage and how we've got here. Obviously, you can see right up at the top, the working men 6-1, and that 1 loss felt like an anomaly in itself. I think it was like 16-4 that they lost, just somehow sandbagged the game basically, but every other game it's just looked absolutely dominant from them.
Oh yeah, they were one of the strongest teams without a doubt throughout the entire group stage. Just so much individual skill there, and that was on display without fail every week.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we've got Infused, Reason and United Estonia were all tied for 2nd place. It went on score difference, so the seeding was actually Reason in 2nd seed, Infused in 3rd, and then United Estonia in that 4th seed spot. Now, we've been here before, haven't we, with United Estonia in 4th seed. Last finals, they actually ended up winning from that seed, but we'll go into more detail on that later. But as you can see, those are the other 4 teams that didn't quite make it to playoffs: Ufrex CX, Alter Ego, and Xanax. But it's time to take a look into kind of how this tournament is going to pan out. Our very first semi-final of the day is going to be the working men up against United Estonia, first seed versus fourth seed. But let's take a look at the actual bracket so we can show you guys this. And it's going to be, as I said, the working men versus United Estonia, followed by Reason versus Infused. Now, these are two pretty different semi-finals that we're going to be seeing, aren't they?
Oh yeah, you're absolutely correct. I mean, the first semi-final is basically going to be this all-out bloodbath. There's going to be so much adrenaline, so much pump. You've just got a ridiculous amount of talent, just in raw skill. It's going to be on display. I mean, this is going to be mental. Then going into that second semi-final, that's where the strategy is going to be there. Everything needs to be nice and neat. People need to be drilled. The communication has to be on point because they're really the only two real teams that we have at the finals. The other two sides are very aggressive mixed teams, so the play styles are going to be vastly different.
Yeah, I'm curious to see, I mean, we've discussed this in some depth, and I'm very curious to see quite how different these two semi-finals are going to be. But let's start to focus on our first semi-final. Is the working men are kind of favourite, I think, coming into this tournament up against United Estonia, who are certainly the underdog, but they're kind of a dark horse as well. So let's take a look first at the working men. As I said, our favourite, but a mixed squad no less. Do you want to kind of talk me through this roster a little bit? Who are the real standout players for you?
I mean, there's so much talent, as I've said so many times, but you look at it here, these names pop out to you, especially if you're from the UK scene. You're aware of a lot of these players. Looking at Robin as well, one of the imports on this side, you've got two players that aren't actually from the UK, one being T-Sac, the other being Robin. Competed at the first major. Really is just this madman entry fragger that will explode his way onto the site. You've got T-Sac that's been around for so long and can definitely do a lot of damage. But then the experience is there as well. Jacob and Dudley, very old school players, and Fry, the young one on the team, but he's been causing a stir.
Yeah, he certainly has. And let's take a look at their opponents as well. It's going to be United Estonia. Now, this roster has kind of had some troubles. Throughout the group stages. They've lost a couple of their big players and they've had to have replacements. Obviously, Alexei and Chetty stepping in for Fets and HS. And HS was actually a huge factor for them in the group stage. Do you think that could be a huge... Do you think that's going to affect them a lot in coming into finals here?
I think definitely. I mean, United Estonia was that team. It was the mix of the two sides, Estonians and England working together, and they've lost a lot of that firepower. Chetty, he's really going to have to go quite big to represent that side here. But you have a little bit of talent as well with Boaster actually returning to the squad, someone that has competed in that European scene, departed from the UK scene a little while ago to play with Epithy Bolt, I believe. So there is definitely still a lot of skill there. And the only thing that could play into a factor as well, Alexei, a previous coach and obviously a coach that still works for a lot of teams now, could actually calm down that squad and keep this mix side a little bit more in check.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be one of the big factors there is, you know, you mentioned Alexei has fulfilled that coach role for quite a long time now.
Yeah.
And it's kind of whether that sort of, I guess, in-game leader status will affect the squad, whether we see more like set pieces out of them, even if it's just basic set pieces. You know, if you can get that good wall of smoke, if you can get the good mollies to block off like window on the A site and dust, or, you know, just those key grenades, those key things, and just working together a little bit better, maybe that will be the factor that can actually push them up. Because we've seen, like, they have big fraggers on their team as well. It's like working men in United Estonia at the very start of the season, you were kind of looking at the lineups like they have literally taken all of the best fraggers in the UK and combined these two teams. But here we are, and it's going to be our first semi-final. So this definitely should be, as you worded it, a bloodbath between these two teams. But the map veto is up. Do you want to talk me through these maps a little bit? I can't say that those three maps being picked I'm too surprised about here in the UK.
No, I mean, this is a very UK scene, Paul, when you look at that. Dust 2 obviously going to be the one to kick it off. So favourable between mixed sides. They want to try and get that Dust 2. It's a map that really does come down to aim. You can play it sort of in that more aggressive style. Go for that map control early. Just try and really take the gunfights, and that's what we're going to see here, especially on a map to kick it off as well. What's going to be great is whoever starts off on that T side, they're going to have that little bit of extra ability to warm up a little bit quicker with the AK in their hands. We're going to really see an awful lot of aggression coming out.
Yeah, definitely going to be the case. And that's going to be followed by Cash as well, which, again, similar in kind of how wide open it is, it does lend towards playing that kind of mixed style, playing that aggressive style, looking for a pick and then just going off the back of that.
It's interesting as well because Cash is actually, in the UK scene, sort of become the new Dust 2 of what we had sort of in prior years. Dust 2 was always that instant pick for the majority of teams. It was vastly played, whereas Cash sort of has taken that spot into this year. So every team knows how to play this to a very good standard in the scene.
I've got to say, I'm very curious about the third map, Mirage, because we've seen a decent amount of Mirage, but it's not necessarily the same level of just mix kind of map. It doesn't lend to that playstyle as much. It's more about set pieces, more about working together. So it's kind of like we're going to see these two mixed teams play two mixed maps, and then if we do go to a third game, it's going to be like, who's built up that synergy? Who is going to be able to work better as an actual team?
I mean, this is the scary thing, right? Because when you look at this is sort of the working men's game to lose coming into this. They really should be able to dominate quite early on. Dust 2 will be a map that ideally should go to the side of the working men, even though it is UE's pick. Cash as well, definitely favoured to the working men. But here's the thing, UE definitely have a chance here. If they can come in early, if they can pick up Dust 2, Mirage is also a scary one though, because they come in, they need to get that 2 Ojo. If this goes to all 3 maps, Mirage was a map that, even back before they actually were able to qualify for their Prem, working their way through the qualifiers to try and grab their spot in the promotions to get here. Mirage was a map that the working men at that time played so much and dominated on heavily. So it really is quite a scary one, that sort of behemoth at the end of the tunnel.
Absolutely. Well, one of the things I want to talk about before we actually get into the game is kind of one of the players on the working men who's been certainly one of their big hitters during the group stage is Fry. Now, from what we've been talking about, we've been talking to the players and things, Fry is very much a new player to the scene, and this is actually his first LAN. This is his first offline event. Do you think that that's going to be a huge factor coming in? Do you think he'll be able to just kind of ease right into it, or maybe some stage nerves coming into play? What do you reckon?
So here's the thing as well, with LAN in such a big environment, it's different in sort of the way you play the game purely because of how anxious you are as a person. It does get to you, that sort of pressure of worrying about the fact you've got so many more eyes on you, everyone's watching, there's the audience in front of you, the roar of the crowd and everything. That really gets to you. It's just, it might be a little bit calmer for him here, but coming into it you could see obviously the nerves are going to be on display. A player that is so talented, wanting to bring like his best to the table whilst he's here, if he can't do so, that's going to affect him as well. It's an endless cycle where you start to hate yourself more because obviously if you don't perform, you're worried about the fact you haven't performed and you perform worse because of it. LAN can be quite a scary environment for someone that hasn't done it before if it affects them that way.
And I think it's as well, you're kind of out of that comfort zone because if you've only played online before, every game you've played has been from your bedroom. It's your setup, everything's right, perfect sensitivity, you've got like, you know, just everything is exactly how you want it and like it. And then you go onto stage and suddenly like you've got your keyboard and mouse, but you're on the wrong desk, you're on the wrong chair, it's all just a little bit alien. So it's whether or not he can kind of get into the flow of things. Obviously they were here yesterday, so they've had a chance to kind of warm into it a little bit, like get used to the setup and things. But I'm curious to see whether he can kind of just get straight on in and just get fragging. And I think Dust 2 kind of lends to that as well. That's like the perfect map for him to ease into it.
Because that's the thing, if that's what I was saying, if they get that T side, that's going to be great for a player like Fry, especially as well for the rest of that side. Because you have people like Robin and that are just going to be popping off, going for those headshots, trying to take that level of aggression. Fry can get that AK in his hands early. He's going to feel quite confident. He'll just be trying to go for those peaks. I mean, it basically just works off how quickly he can warm up and get himself into the game. If he has a really great start, then he should be fairly okay to just ease his way into it. It could be shaky though if UE do just come out of nowhere and really shut them down early. So
I'm curious now about UE because obviously we've talked about Fets. He was their star player in my opinion, and he's no longer in the lineup. HS as well couldn't come to the LAN final, so he's no longer in the lineup, and I think he was the one that really stepped up when Fets left. So now who is it in United Estonia that's going to have to step up and kind of be that beacon of light for their team?
I mean, out of that lineup really, the two sort of players when you look at that need to really have that strong fragging power, number one has got to be Boaster. Boaster has to come into this and show that obviously the time he spent in Europe working on that, playing with a different sort of environment, that has affected him. He needs to bring that to the table, really bring his skill and display that he can compete on that level. Joe as well, someone that was so talented, so much power behind him. I mean, he statistically, as we were saying in the previous season, the best fragger by far, and now coming into this season, he had a fairly horrific group stage. He really couldn't get that win behind him, but luckily he's had a little bit more time to sort of get back into the game now. A lot more heavy focus. A recent LAN as well, actually placing top 4. So there's definitely been a lot more behind him. So Joe, if he comes into this, if he's feeling nice and confident, could be someone to watch, especially in a LAN environment as well. Joe occasionally does show up very large.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things as well is kind of at the very start of the season, we were looking at names like Joe, like Boaster. These guys are so good with the rifles. Like, if you give them an AK, you're just confident that they will at least go 1 for 1. You know, there's no doubt in your mind that they will win a trade. So it's kind of this season we've seen less of that, especially out of Joe, as you said. It's kind of whether or not they can get back onto that previous form that we saw, and whether that's going to be enough. Because obviously, I mean, United Estonia won the last season. They're going to be wanting to kind of hold up that mantle. They are the reigning champions, but coming in 4th seed, obviously losing a couple of players, it's going to be a little bit dicey for them. And now Working Men certainly look like a favourite in this matchup, but we'll see if it's going to be the case as we head onto the very first map of our semi-final. It is going to be Dust 2. We've already talked about how this kind of lends towards being that mixed map. Do you think these guys will want to go for the CT, or do you think just sheerly for kind of warming up, getting the single shot headshots, do you think it'll be T side?
So that's the thing. I mean, Dust 2 as a whole is one of these maps. It doesn't really matter either way. It's what side you feel comfortable on at that point in time and where you want to start off. But I'd say for the majority of these players and both of these teams, ideally, they want to try and get that T side just to go for that early aggression. It does allow you to warm up a little bit easier. Obviously, you can get that AK in your hands, but it comes down to the pistol, and anything can happen. UE will pick up that knife, though, Joe, so the decision is theirs.
Yeah, and you can already hear a little bit of chanting going on from the teams, a little bit of a whoop as they win that knife round. So they're going to be able to decide what half of the map they want to go for. And it looks like they are just going to stick with the T side for this one. So the working men will be our counter-terrorists to start the game. And I think that's certainly going to be quite nice for UE. Obviously, we mentioned a couple of these players going to have to kind of warm into things again. And having those AKs in the hands certainly will be nice for them. And it just means you can kind of just go for these sort of standard Dust 2 plays, like just everybody, like, you know, round 2, we've got SMGs, they've got nothing, let's just charge a bit, you know, that kind of thing where it's just nice, easy, quick pace rounds just to get everything going.
A sort of deathmatch style of CF to really just hit the nail on the head straight away. You want to just bring that aggression, and it's going to be interesting as well because, as we were saying with Alexi as well, sort of the coach of the side in the previous season now coming in as that, filling that 5th player role. He's someone that sort of needs to try and get his way into it fairly quickly as well, because he hasn't actually played the game in a very long time at sort of that level. It's been sort of, I believe in the past sort of 2 months, around 3 hours in the game, so he hasn't really had that long. Obviously, having to come in that last minute spot. If he can step up instantly though and really get some win behind him, much like Fry, that's where he needs to be. You have to get that confidence, because I mean, at the end of the day, Counter-Strike really can just be all about confidence, Joe.
Yeah, certainly can. But here we go. The game is going to be underway. Just 5 seconds before the first semi-final of the Premiership begins, and it's going to be not much of a really not much of a commitment on the buys coming out from United Estonia. Still sticking with the Glocks mostly. Chetty going with the Desert Eagle, though, as they push straight on into this B side. They're looking for headshots. Jacob is going to be dodging a couple of bullets, but does go down. Traded straight back across by Fry, though, who's looking for another one. But all in all, the terrorists do manage to take control of the site now, and it's 3 versus 3 for the retake.
Yeah, they've got a little bit of utility to work with as well on that all-important kit on TSAC, so they do have the time in their favour. Bomb will eventually get planted, though, Joe, and they're just biding their time for now.
Very, very quick push to start things off. United Estonia not messing around here. They just wanted to start things off. Chetty with the Desert Eagle. That hand cannon can't quite connect his shots, though, and it becomes 2 versus 2. The terrorists certainly with an advantage, but TSAC can't quite land his shot, and Alexi takes his head clean off his shoulders. That is going to be the first round going the way of United Estonia. And I mean, we already mentioned this second kind of SMG round. This should, in theory, be very, very comfortable for UE.
I actually like this as well because it's smart play. They've gone for 3 SMGs there, Joe, and 2 rifles that they can utilize from a little bit more long range. Most likely we'd see that long push coming out because it just helps a lot more with the range, but they're going to send 2 players off towards B. Just going to hold out, try and scout out here, go for the slow default, see if there's any aggression from the working men, which most likely you would expect. You know, you've got to win in these ecos, just playing out like a gun round. You want to try and go for the play early on that CT side.
Yeah, you want to try and just, if you can, take a weapon off your opponents. That's the ultimate goal of this round, really, for the working men. Obviously, the ultimate goal is to win the round, but right now, you've got to think in small integers. You've got to think, okay, if we can get 1 pick, if we can get 1 rifle for ourselves, especially if they can find Alexi, if they can get that AK, then actually this round doesn't look all too bad. If you can get good position, get some nice little headshots, then suddenly it all looks great. But here we go. A couple of smokes and things. UE still not sold on where quite they want to go with this one. It looks like it is airing towards the B side, but a short push towards A could be the call as well. The bomb's still over towards spawn, really, so can go anywhere with this one.
Yeah, obviously trying to plant that seed of doubt in the minds of the working men, force the mass rotate, and then go for the late round play. Robin is close by with a 5-7. It's a bit of an awkward angle to try and land the shot on towards Alexi, but unfortunately, they won't be able to do it just yet. Joe will actually get the opener. He's traded out by TSAC with a nice little crossfire on towards long, and there's Robin. He does eventually kick it off, takes down Mick, wanted to go for the flick, and the second man as well, but Alexi was able to best him. He's eventually going to fall, though, and now it's a 3 versus 2.
Yeah, and United Estonia on the back foot. This is not where they wanted to be. Boasted Nearly couldn't connect those. That was actually a little bit dicey for him, but Chetty's found that AK once more, and Jacob sneaking up behind them, but Boaster is going to be well out of there. And in fact, both of the CTs coming from behind them. Jacob with that 5-7 can't quite connect their headshot, but he does finally get that kill onto Boaster. So suddenly, Chetty, he's got a lot of work to do for himself, grabs that bomb and just about gets away with it. Nice. No, he didn't get the bomb!
Yeah.
Oh, he missed the bomb, and now Chetty.
Time as well.
He was out of time. Basically, it was get that bomb and plant it right there or lose the round. That was it. So just had to hold on to the AK, and that is a painful, painful second round for United Estonia. They could have just had the momentum. They could have been rolling and just getting away with this game, basically. But now they've got to go up against this Spammer Spy from the Working Men.
That's the thing, this is never a great situation to be in. You always want to try and get that follow-up round. I mean, that's basically more important than the pistol round in a lot of cases, because it puts your economy in a horrific situation. But luckily, they scavenged a few of those weapons, were able to hold on to them. So it just depends what they can do into this round. Going for that A play. There's a little bit of doubt on the side of the Working Men, so they've actually rotated off 3 players close by, and the first one to fall should be Dudley, but he actually is able to turn on it, takes down Alexi, punishes him with that 5-7. He's only on 10 HP. If they don't check Gandalf as well, Joe could be taken down. Everyone will begin to flood their way on towards the bomb site, and they're trying to get that bomb planted, but there's the peak. T-Sack is going to punish them for not clearing their angles, Joe.
It certainly is, and that Famus coming into play, and suddenly we're running out of Estonians on this squad right now. Just 3 of them remaining, but Boaster uses that Tech 9 to great effect to find another kill for himself, and suddenly the CT's actually incredibly low. Dudley's only on 10. It might end up in a 1 versus 1 against Fry here for Boaster, but can't quite find that headshot, and it means that the defuse will come through. The Working Men with a second one on the trot, and it means that the 4th round in the game, instead of being kind of that first rifle that we usually see, looks like it should be a fairly simple round for the Working Men.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be them basically just railing their way through as well. Dudley, quite a lot of confidence behind them, actually going for the double AWP setup immediately at this point. They're aware of the situation with the economy of United Estonia. They don't really have to run the risk of this. Obviously, those pistols are going to be so effective in close quarter combat, but they're going to try and go for the double AWP. Both of these players, we've seen how fantastic they've been throughout the group stages with these weapons in their hands. So let's see what havoc they can cause into the round.
Yeah, and I think, for me, like how well they use these AWPs, where they position, like kind of how they use these weapons is going to be important. But Dudley, super far pushed with that. Like, I'm not sure why he was so close to doors with that AWP, to be quite honest. I think maybe just playing that a little bit more defensive would have been safer.
So, I mean, that could have been great, right? He was going to be able to get the opener there, bring it into the advantage for the Working Men. They could have backed off, just play off close angles. But unfortunately, the timing is what the sort of the downside factor was. Unscoping at just the wrong time, hearing that audio cue, he wanted to try and reposition, just thought no one was going to peek him at that point. Instantly then, he gets taken down. 3 men ran into him.
There just happens to be a whole bunch of pistols at the other side of that double door. Does get taken down, but now Joe, with the AWP in his hands, might be able to make something happen here. Finds Fry, and that's going to be a nice little opener onto this B side, but it's straight back by Jacob, who does have Big Green Gun himself. Finds a second one as well. He's looking to take out this team if he can. He's got the USP now, but they're running out of counter-terrorists, and suddenly T-Sack, the last man remaining, coming from the A site, has an M4, but the double AWPs have found their way into the hands of these Estonians now. And it certainly shouldn't be an easy retake for T-Sack, but he's going to give it a go. Chetty, though, happily able to get that one through smoke.
I mean, that's crazy, right? Because that's the thing. They've gone for that.
That shouldn't have happened.
Ridiculous risk, Joe. They wanted to go for that double AWP setup. They needed it now. The economy on UE wasn't fantastic. They could have squeezed out a little bit of an awkward force if they wanted to try and do so, but they just stuck with what they had. A few Tech 9s, go for that fast running gun style CS, and as you were saying with Dudley as well, that's quite an advantage power play, but going up against pistols like that isn't going to work out. And Joe, he's showing Fryer to use an AWP right there. He's going to be able to just absolutely obliterate him down mid instantly to kick the round off. Looks like they're hungry for some more as well. The aggression coming out towards on. Dudley's going to sprint through the smoke. Will actually find the frag, but there's the trade as well. Joe on a roll right now, returning to form. He'll have a bit of a hat trick to kick this one off.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I was about to say as well, is we kind of said, is Joe going to be able to perform? Like last season he was amazing, but certainly proving it this one. And Jacob is going to chime in with one for his own. But now 2 versus 3. Oh, make that 1 versus 3. Robin all on his own with a 5-7. You know, 5-7, it's a powerful pistol, but I don't know if it's going to be enough for a 1 versus 3. He's found himself an AK, though, so maybe it can make something happen. But realistically, with the double AWP on this A side, this shouldn't be winnable. Robin finds a first headshot, though. Now it's just him against the snipers. I think he might be just deciding to hold on to this AK, or maybe just going through CT spawn, trying to go from a different angle.
So this, I mean, that bomb isn't down right now. He's trying to go for the peak. Actually nails Joe against the wall, takes him down. Already 3 kills into the round. There's just 1 man left. It's Chetty. AWP in hand. He's on ramp. A little bit paranoid. Not quite sure where the next peak's going to come from. Robin trying to go for that information play. Has the utility as well, and he is going to try and use it. Flashbang's over, but won't actually spot him out. And Chetty pulls the trigger.
To be fair to Robin, that was a valiant effort. 1 versus 3. Started with a 5-7. Finds himself an AK. And I mean, it's just kind of how crisp those shots are, how perfect those little headshots are. Like, the second that AWP shot was missed, he goes down immediately. I think it was Joe that he managed to take out. But here we go, Chetty going to be having a look down mid. Did actually leg Robin through the door there, but can't quite finish off the kill.
I mean, they've kind of found a little bit of the weak spot right now. UE have realized they can brutalize their way out long early. This is great as well. Jacob going for the information play up mid, pushing up, does spot out the bomb. He can relay that to his teammates. They can begin to rotate over towards A straight away, but Boaster's in that low position, holding there towards T-Spawn. Will be able to take down Jacob. Mick finds one as well on towards T-Stack. Robin in the close angle could cause a little bit of damage, try and make a stir as he takes down Joe, and Mick will fall as well. But Alexi wants to try and slow things down a little bit here.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of what we want from UE, just to slow things down. But Alexi gets a nice little headshot onto Fry as well. And I mean, we were talking about how Alexi was coming in. He had to replace HS, who was essentially the star player of UE at the time. And so far, he's kicking it off with style. Not only is it kind of this in-game leader role, but also in-game leader in terms of score.
I mean, that's the thing. Obviously, not many hours in CS in the past few months. He hasn't really been playing the game. But here he is, turning up to the LAN finals, and he's turning up nice and well. I mean, he's really bringing his A game, so we need more of this. If this UE side can keep this going, maybe we could have a fairy tale story like last time.
Absolutely, and I mean, realistically, coming into this match, I wasn't expecting to see a scoreline like this. I was not expecting United Estonia to be 2 rounds up early on in the game and kind of getting almost a force fight out of the working men. Barely any utility to work with. A Famus as well, but here we go, Alexi. Can't keep up that same kind of level of aggression. And Robin definitely has been a shining light for the working men so far. He's really been the standout player, and we expected no less from Robin.
He has the shot. That's the thing. He really is sort of this behemoth when it comes to that entry fragging ability. And as you were saying, just how crisp he is when he's landing those shots. He has to be able to display that throughout the entire game. Dudley, though, he does have the AWP in his hand, his favourite weapon. Definitely is quite skilled with it. Luckily for him, someone who's going to walk straight into his crosshairs was able to pull the trigger. It's a bit of an awkward situation to be in as well. Fairly outnumbered, the side of UE is, as they just hold short, just trying to hold their ground, seeing if they can get anything out here, if working men get a little bit overconfident and go for a peak, Joe. But it seems like they will just be holding their ground and force the play out of UE.
Yeah, they're going to go for this one, Dudley. Just going to be laying in wait, though, with that AWP. And here we go, the fight is going to kick off, and it's going to be Mick finding the first one, and Boaster chimes in. You said they were outnumbered, but not anymore. 3 versus 3. T-Sack waiting in pit, though, and it's going to be able to even things up a little bit more. Or I say even things up, take the lead slightly. The working men now going to be on the retake. The AKs are going to be able to do some serious damage. It's going to be Fry finding one, but Boaster on his own takes 2, and now in a 1 versus 1, he might be able to make this happen. All on his own. If he could just find a singular headshot, he will be able to take this round. So close, but it is going to be T-Sack with a nice little 1-tap. The defuse should be able to come through.
I mean, great stuff from Boast there, though. So close, really going down to the wire at the last minute. I mean, great. Just the shots that are coming out are what we need. And T-Sack, a nice little 1-tap to finish it off. So much finesse has been on display.
Nice little shot there from Dudley to kick off the round as well. And I think that was quite an important kill from Dudley as well, because it kind of got the ball rolling for them. It meant that the working men could lose those couple of trades to Boaster and still get away with it. They had that extra manpower to work with, but a little bit of banter going on in the chat. But it is now 3-4, and again, another kind of force buy coming out from the working men. Couple of Famuses, and actually a P90 coming out from Jacob. So very aggressive buy, I would say, coming out from them. But Chetty, not sure that was the wisest peak, to be quite honest. Or T-Sack, sorry, but is going to get kind of just railed on that one.
Yeah, just charging in, obviously. peeked through the smoke and just got taken down. A bit unfortunate. Picnic as well could actually come in quite handy if they go for an aggressive B play, or even the mid to be a little bit later onto the round, but it doesn't seem like that's what we're going to have on display here. The push. Dudley gets caught off guard, very low right now, 13 HP. He's forced to fall back into a little bit more of a safer position, but unfortunately his teammates start to fall all around him. It'll only take one bullet to take him down, but Alexi actually gets dropped. Boaster lands a headshot on towards Fry. Jacob takes down Boaster, and it's a 3 versus 2. They do outnumber their opponents. They've got a lot more health to work with as well. It's a bit of an awkward one for the working men now.
Yeah, and it's kind of a question of, do we actually push this? Do we try and take this round? But I think they're going to go for it. Not sure it was the wisest decision, though. Chetty is going to find that shot with the AWP, and Dudley, rightly, is going to keep hold of this sniper. Does not want to lose that because, you know, we already saw that last round was not a convincing buy for the working, or this round, sorry, was not a convincing buy for the working men. They did manage to find a sniper, but it was mostly FAMASs, you know. It wasn't really what you want to be working with, and they definitely need to try and hold on to this valuable investment of that AWP.
They have the economy to work with. They actually want to try and go for the hunt and spot him out. Joe searching around, obviously, whilst the other 2 players just go for the save, but seems like he has been able to find his way through, hold on to the AWP. Critical, as you were saying. He needs that weapon to try and allow them to just have any lifeline to work with getting into this. No cash across the board for the working men. It's going to be a hard round.
Yeah, it certainly is. And I mean, interestingly, they are actually going to buy an M4 for Robin. So, you know, despite not having any money to work with, they've spent just about everything they had. They've gone for those grenades, gone for those upgraded pistols. Jacob already tagged out there by Chetty down mid. This should be, despite, you know, all of the money that they did have being spent, this should still be a fairly easy round for United Estonia, especially with that tag onto Jacob early. But we know that these pistols can do a lot of damage at close range.
Yeah, these close angles can be so powerful. Alexi just going in as well, trying to spot it out. The first one, Jacob needs to go for the play in a moment, but Mick actually wants to hit him off. Just the aggression coming out, the confidence on display. Alexi, unfortunately, blind, couldn't get the revenge frag off the back of his teammate. Jacob takes down Mick. So 4 versus 4, but still vastly outgunned. Things will begin to slow down a little bit, though, but it seems that mid to B play, the aggression late into the round, will be the call.
Yeah, absolutely, and Chetty going to rotate over towards the rest of his team as well. So he's going to have that sniper to try and find that player that they know is hanging out over on the B side. Little do they know, though, there are 2 players now there. Someone else has rotated. Oh, in fact, no, it's a decoy. I just can't read a minimap. This is the case, but it's going to be Robin finding one. So that M4 investment paying off in the end. Now 3 versus 3 is Jacob with a nice little spot. Finds 2 headshots for himself. And suddenly, this round doesn't look very winnable. We do have one more player to push onto this side, but Jacob is laying in wait, ready to pounce. He's already got 3 kills for himself, and he's looking to turn it into another. I mentioned he got tagged at the start of the round, but it just does not matter. If he can find this headshot, Boaster will hit the floor, and the rest of his teammates are arriving on the scene. I don't think this is one that Boaster can go for, really, but he's going to have to try for it. And in the end, it's going to be T-Sack that finishes off that last player. And it's a 4th round for the working men. So regardless of who's ahead right now, this is such a close game between these 2 teams.
Yeah, this is beautiful as well. Look at this power play from Jacob. See, in that elevated angle, they couldn't quite clear it. As soon as they peek out, they're aware, but they just run into that hellfire that he spammed down.
I think, like, as well, that was the last bullet that was going to be accurate before he fell off the boxes. That was so clutch from him. And I think Jacob single-handedly winning that round right there for the working men. But now, I think this is actually the first round where we've seen a really convincing buy out of the working men, aside from that double AWP that we saw right at the start of the game.
Yeah, obviously back to that double AWP as well, as they're able to scavenge the other one, but can they utilise them efficiently here? If these Ts get too close, those Tech 9s could become quite powerful. T-Sack in an awkward angle by Elevator there will eventually take down Mick, and everyone just hitting the ground right now. Complete bloodbath. Boaster's found 2 frags, still has a Tech 9 in hand, wants to grab a weapon, will recover that AWP. Looks for the elevated peak, but it's not going to matter. T-Sack gliding through the air. The man's an acrobat as he tanks him down.
Yeah, that was never going to be a fun situation. Even if you've got that AWP, you know that they're coming with the pistols, you know it's close angles, and you know that it's never going to be an easy round. So it's going to go the way of working men, and that means we are now tied up at 5 and 5. And take a look at these top fraggers. You've got Boaster on one side, 13 kills for himself, and he's up against T-Sack on the other side on 12. Yeah. So it's kind of like 2 very clear leaders for both of these teams, and if they can continue to hit their shots, then it's looking great. Robin, T-Sack is the one to talk about as he finds 2 headshots, and this attack from United Estonia has just been taken apart.
They just look fairly uncoordinated, really. They've gone for that push out. Unfortunately, it looks like the flash didn't actually blind them correctly, didn't land where they wanted it to. Alexi as well was caught off guard at the awkward angle, and they just got punished by Tsac. He's just been on fire right now, and it leaves Chetty in a horrendous situation. A 1v4 to deal with, found the first frag, and there's 3 men remaining. The bomb in such an awkward spot, Joe. Trying to recover that will be a hard task. He's got a minute to play with still, though. And a bit utility as well, but Tsac has the angle on lockdown. Looking like he's hungry for the hat-trick into the round. We'll spook Chetty and force him to just wait for the meantime.
Chetty is going to be trying to take that duel, but Tsac well aware of the situation and easily able to take yet another kill for himself. Now on 15 with a hat-trick in the last round. It's basically now... for Tsac and Boaster, they're just racing for top frag. At this point, they're just looking to top the scoreboard and dominate their opponents. But right now, it's the working men who are dominating United Estonia as they got that double up on the go again. Everybody with a complete and utter full buy now, and they're up against pretty much a full eco coming out from United Estonia. A single Deagle, a couple of P250s, but really nothing too much to talk about.
Yeah, so going for that first out mid here, try and overwhelm Fryer towards that B-bomb site. Jacob's there as well to back him up, but here comes the push. Fighting their way through. They take a little bit of mid-control early on as well, seeing if they can find a bit of a lucky frag. Fry thought he was going to go for the smart play there, just work his way through the smoke and try and go for the backstab, but he'll just wait for people to offer themselves up. The sacrifices come in as Chetty goes down. There's Joe as well. Luckily, they will eventually find the frag onto him, but Jacob with a quick trade wants the follow-up frag as well, but struggling a little bit before he recovers himself. Composes and takes him down, but look at that. Talking about composure, Alex E, so stealthy. Finds those 2 frags towards mid, is aware of the location of Jacob as well. He's low HP. This is a great spot to be in for Jacob. He can back off. He's aware that the bomb is down. Alex E has to try and recover that. Jacob can just bide his time here, Joan. Try and go for a slow play.
He's actually going to go for a flank as well. But Alexi is certainly going to be looking to kind of make this full round just a highlight reel for himself. He's already got 3 with that Deagle, and now he's got an AK to work with. Jacob's behind him. Nobody gets spotted, and Alexi with the 4K gets the headshot and takes the round for United Estonia. This game has been so back and forth between these two teams, and now it's going to be United Estonia once again on the side with the rifles. They're going to get the buyout, but there's a bit of money to work with here for the working men. But again, we see these force buys coming out from them. We keep on seeing these rounds where they just can't quite get the full buy.
Yeah, I mean, this is crazy. It's the Battle of the Giants. This is what we wanted to see.
Yeah.
This is what we were hoping we were seeing. And it's come out. The return to form for everyone on that UB side. Even Alex E just popping off constantly, going absolutely crazy. Jacob, unfortunately for him as well, into this round, not going to go in his favour. Gets taken down by Boaster. Dudley will respond with the AWP shot and the second as well. See you later, Joe. He says as he just repositions, wants to get that final frag, but unfortunately blind in the moment and can't go for the peak just yet. Trying to help his teammate, but Robin will do some damage as well on towards Mick. This is a great A defense considering they're vastly outnumbered and their weaponry isn't too fantastic either.
Yeah, and now it's down to Chetty and Boaster. They've got an AK, they've got an AWP, but unfortunately the bomb is down on short, and that is never a good situation to be in. They've got to somehow push onto that Boaster. Going round towards long, trying to go from 2 different angles at once as Chetty is going to just shoulder peek that, try and bait out that AWP shot, but isn't going to be able to find that wall bang just yet. As Robin pretty much just praying to the heavens right now that none of these AWP shots go through the box and hit him right in the face. He knows exactly where Chetty is, but Chetty kind of just trying to distract fire right now, wait for his teammate to push around, but as I mentioned, his teammate Boaster gets shut down by Tsac. And now suddenly Chetty, the best case scenario now is that he can keep hold of this AWP, does manage to find a kill for himself, and he's going to peek and gets the second one as well. Dudley goes down, and now suddenly this looks doable. Chetty, if he can find another shot, he finds himself in a 1 versus 1. No, misses the shot. I thought that was so on the target, but it's all kind of falling apart a little bit here for Chetty. Can't quite find these AWP shots. He's already got 2 for himself. He still can make this round happen, but he's down to just 20 HP. He's got to make it happen now, but Tsac is on the scene. He's going to shut down that terrorist, and he's going to be able to grab an AWP for the next round.
Yeah, they were a nice 2 shots, but obviously was forced to try and make a play towards the end there, on towards Tsac. He's in the better position. I mean, 90% of the time he was going to be able to win that. He had to land that first shot when he went for the elevated peak. The fact he didn't just sort of set the scene for the rest of that round.
I think as well, once you fumble that shot, it's so hard to kind of just get back on the horse, get in the right mentality again, and just continue to hit shots. It feels like once you miss one, it's so hard to like get back into the groove of things, but a scout actually coming out from Chetty here in this round. United Estonia, you know, not going for the full eco. And I think that's a theme we've seen throughout this game, is neither of these teams ever really wants to go quite for that full eco, you know, just straight up Glocks, like, see what happens. Chetty does manage to find one, though, with that scout, so making it work for himself, and Joe's going to pick that one up and hopefully pick up the slack here. But it's 4 versus 4, Dudley on the site with the AWP. Not quite able to find his shots, though, and does actually have to back away down through long, and Joe is going to be able to get the bomb down. So, at very least, United Estonia are going to get that extra bit of cash.
Pot shots coming off as they try and work their way towards that A bomb site. Joe does have the scout, a very effective weapon, especially on a map like Das 2. It's so versatile. Here comes that push, the all-out aggression. Fry lands the first shot, takes down Alexi, and they want to try and get the follow-up as well. But Boaster's going to chime in with that CZ, the close range, proving so very effective as he just spams down the opposition. And they've still got to try and get this defuse as well. They will tap on it, just defending each other. Good stuff. There seems like they might actually be able to get away with this, but Mick has other ideas, spams away with the Deagle. And that's a double kill to finish that one off. United Estonia fighting back.
What is it about United Estonia and Desert Eagles? We saw Alexi go absolutely insane with one earlier. Now Mick kind of follows in his teammates' footsteps and gets a nice little double kill, wins out the round for his team. And now, I mean, whoever wins this round, I don't think this round is even going to be that massive in the grand scheme of things. It's going to end up 7-8 regardless. And I mean, what a first game to kick this semi-final off. And the rifle's definitely in favour of United Estonia, but that's not really mattered too much this game. We've seen a fair few eco wins, or eco doesn't even feel like the right word, with the amount of kind of CZs that we've seen coming out, the Deagles, all of this kind of, like, I don't really know, I want to say pseudo-buys almost, like, just kind of going with whatever you can cobble together.
I mean, that's the thing, though, but it's been working out time and time again because this aggressive playstyles that's been on display from both teams, and they know they can use these weapons effectively. Look at Jacob here as well. So much confidence on display. Look how close he is. Here's the audio cues, then goes for his initiative strike. Takes down Chetty, but the response is there. Luckily, Boaster gets the revenge frag and brings it back into a bit more of a manageable situation. Dudley has to go so ridiculously huge here to hold this back, but unfortunately, he will fall. Long has been taken. Now map control is entirely in the hands of Yui. Robin will find one frag. Lands that Deagle shot on towards Alexi. The Deagle, obviously, still coming up large for that side.
And Robin now has an AK to work with as well and will find Joe immediately. Robin just so solid when it comes to those rifles, and that's going to be Fry finding one as well. We were talking about Fry being the rookie here, first land. Maybe the nerves would get to him. Doesn't look like it. His shot is certainly crisp, and he is at the bottom of his team's scoreboard, only on 8 kills so far, but I fully expect that to kind of pick up across the courses of the day, especially, you know, when he can pull out shots like that. I want to see just him, you know, consistently getting these trades, just playing appropriately, and so long as he can do that, the confidence will build, and I fully expect to see some good stuff coming out from him later on. But that's a nice little spot from Robin. Single bullet is going to be enough to take out Mick, and that means that it's 8-7 now towards the working men for the first half of the game, and what a first half to kick off the playoffs right now.
Yeah, it's true. It's great stuff. As well, going back to your point with Fry as well, it's one of these things where a lot of those frags were actually quite crucial impact frags a little bit into the round that made that difference maker, especially in these clutch situations. We've seen that coming into effect so much. So good stuff from him across the board. Everyone really popping off, though. I don't sort of really see a single player on the server that we didn't see have moments of individual skill, that flair and sort of that individual brilliance that just allowed them to go over the finish line in quite a few critical rounds, really, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, we've been talking about that. We can see Joe is at the bottom of the scoreboard. He's on 7-14 right now, but he single-handedly won one of the rounds. Like, there was a specific round where I think he got like a pistol kill and then found an AWP and then got 2 kills off the back of that. And it's like, it's not necessarily about how many kills you get in total. I mean, obviously, top fragging is always going to be good, but even so long as you're being impactful in these rounds, so long as you're doing what is necessary to get your team these rounds on the board and get that economy flowing for your team, that's what's important. And you can see kind of the looks on these players' faces. They can tell how close it is. You know how close it is just by looking at these players right now. And it's kind of, this pistol is going to be very important, I think, for this second half. It's going to be a lot down to if they can string 3 rounds together. And if they can, you know, that is going to be a very important factor, because so far throughout the game, it's been very back and forth. We saw, especially after the first pistol, it didn't go the way that it does kind of in the textbook. And I'm curious to see whether we're going to see that again in this half, or whether someone's going to be able to kind of get hold of this game with both hands and get a little bit more stable.
And this could be the perfect way to set the scene, Joe. Obviously, the stage is there. Let's see if they can Really bring their A game. The lower push coming out. Chetty has the angle covered, but unfortunately for him, the dink instantly from Jacob, and Fry with a nice one as well. He takes down Mick, but Poster's there, and he is causing havoc. 2 taps straight go out, taking down the opposition. He wants a third, he's going to take it. He's on for the quad, and he does the damage. Poster proving that time in Europe has definitely paid off.
It certainly has, and that is absolutely huge, especially when the working men step in, get those first 2 kills, but Poster says no, and that is the power of the USP, ladies and gentlemen. When you're against those unarmored opponents, you can just find those headshots and just take them down. Let's take a look at the replay of this one, because that was just sick, and I think that was the key moment as well, when he managed to get around behind that wall, gets the reposition, you know, gets the reload off, and then manages to get those last couple of headshots. And it's those crucial moments when, you know, it's all kicking off, when you have to just keep a cool head, and that is where Boaster's really proven that he can.
That's where the flair comes from, and you need those individual impact frags, just barrels of impact frags attached to him there. And I mean, if he keeps that up, just got to help the working men into the second half. This CT half could be so damaging to them. But UE, they have to win this round, Joe. Their economy would be in an irreversible state of peril if they don't pick this one.
Yeah, but we've seen that they can. We've seen that they have the ability to take crucial rounds like this, and Joe going to start things off just right for his team with a headshot on that Famus. And actually going to find a second one as well, so it's looking good right now. Obviously against this kind of, you know, again, one of these pistol buys coming out, but there's a nice little spray from Boaster. Robin does manage to trade for one, but at the end of the day, when it's Famuses, when it's SMGs, it's not the end of the world losing those weapons. You want to rebuy rifles, really, next round anyway, so they should be just about okay. Unless Robin just pulls something ridiculous out, and this should be around in the bag for UE. And Joe actually stepping up fully in this round, gets a hat trick for himself, using that Famus to its full effect. And now we're going to see, I fully expect basically just pure eco now from the working man. For pretty much the first time we've seen it this game, actually just going straight. Maybe a couple of PT50s, but not anything, none of these Deagles, none of the 5.7s, just hold on to the money for the next round.
I mean, that's the thing, obviously, as well. If they would have got the bomb down, there would have been that chance to try and go for that buy now, but didn't happen, unfortunately, so they will have to go for that final eco, then come in strong into the first full buy round. But this mid-aggression seems like it has actually been snubbed out. It was going to be that early mid to be played, just trying to overwhelm your opponent. But it's been slowed down for now. Nice use of smokes from UE as well, aware that this would be a rush off the back to the fact they didn't have a great economy, and they have slowed them down and given a little bit of time to work with, but they're going to go straight through it anyway. Alex, he could be caught off guard actually in mid-reload, but goes for the peak. Not only does he get the first one onto Dudley, but takes down T-Sack as well. So Robin's the one to eventually show up to take him down with a single tap, and Boaster is there. Takes down Jacob, wants a little bit more of the action, but unfortunately his teammates start to fall. And it gets a little bit awkward. Did get that all-important bomb plant now. What else can they achieve? Any damage to the economy of UE would be great, but it's going to be so hard for them to actually pick this one up.
Boaster coming in from the flank as well, and that means he gets 2 nice easy kills with that M4. He is the last man remaining there, which is actually huge in such a crucial round, especially when the working men, because they've ecoed, they're going to be able to buy this round. And maybe United Estonia's economy isn't quite so convincing.
Well, this is the thing. They forced out so many rebuys, and that economy wasn't the best, so it's going to cost them an awful lot of money. They will be able to get one out, but it still leaves them in a little bit of an awkward spot. Alexi as well here, mid-reload, went for the wide peak. Not only does he get the first frag, somehow gets away with the second.
And that is crucial that he got away with that reload, just like kind of cowering behind that box as he tries to get the clip back into the gun, but Dudley starting things off just right, finds one onto Chetty, and the working men start things off correctly now. And it's about whether they can continue this. Alexi going to be holding the B site right now and stopping anyone going for the push, the mollies, the smokes, all of this utility being used just to hold off any aggression. Now Robin towards mid, might be looking to peek mid here. Boaster's on the other side. Well, you know, Robin is one of these players though that has full confidence in his aim, and rightly so. Like I expect to see that kind of peek out of Robin. That's the kind of peek that, you know, a lot of players you would think is very risky to do, but when you've got a player like Robin that can just land those shots time after time, it doesn't even feel that risky.
That's true. I mean, he's sort of the story of the side of both of these teams, though. Everyone looks so powerful when it comes down to just their strength when they want to go for those 1v1s, and it can go either way the majority of the time. Alexi getting a little bit confident here, will actually work his way into essentially a death trap as T-Sack had the angle on lockdown. He had his teammates crossfire as well if things did get out of hand, but one bullet was all it took to actually stop him in his tracks. Now outnumbering their opponents, what will they be able to do here, Joe?
Well, Robin's going to be able to get that bomb down to kick things off. The working men certainly looking to be in a comfortable position in this round, and It looks like UE actually decided to go for a full 3-man save right now. Joe was so close to getting a kill onto Jacob, but he looked away at the worst possible moment. And Jacob is going to fully punish him for that decision. The flash comes out, gets on too long, but he doesn't know that Mick is laying in wait for him. And that means that these two UE players should be able to get away with things. Robin looking to punish it. They are not wanting UE to get away with these weapons. They want to cripple the economy of these Estonians as much as possible. But Joe is going to punish them for that decision.
Only finding one. That bomb will be going off though, and there's another round secured to the side of the working men. They had to try and do that and start to get everything back in their favour a little bit. Good stuff for them, but can they keep this up?
That's certainly going to be the question on everybody's lips right now. 9-10 is the score, and I've got to say, regardless of who wins at this stage, this is the map to open things up. This is exactly what I was hoping for, and it's exactly what these two teams are bringing to the table. Interesting buy coming out from UE. Obviously, they held on to that AWP and that M4, but no one really committing to kind of try and protect these weapons.
Well, their economy was in such an awful spot. The push actually comes out and the play works out. Mick takes down Jacob. Dudley with a response, though. Brings it into a 4 versus 4. Fair bit of damage transferred over on towards Robin as well. One of those really powerful players. The fact he's taken a bit of a dent could be quite massive late on into the round. Slow stuff now, though. Obviously, those pistols aren't going to be too great from distance, but Boaster tapping away with the Deagle. Nearly connected the shot on towards Dudley. Took 3 rounds to knock him down towards 10 HP, but he survives to live another day.
Makes it now 4 versus 3. The working men still with that advantage, but crucially, Joe still has this sniper. If he can make that AWP work, if he can be the worm god that he needs to be right now. Alexei, though, gets flashed. He knows that someone's over towards those tunnels, but can't really commit to pushing out from these spots. And this is the thing. When you're outnumbered and you're on the defense, you can't really move positions. You can't really go for rotations until you know for sure that that's where the bomb's going to be going, because you can't afford to lose those players.
I mean, that's the style as well. The sort of CS they want to try and go for right now would be that sort of retake and just let Joe save the AWP if things got out of hand. But he actually brings it into a bit of a manageable situation. Look how low they are. They can go for this backstab play in a moment and actually just obliterate the opposition. Joe as well, he's the key man into this. Playing the close angle with the AWP, if he finds another frag, would be fantastic. Alexei is going to get taken down, railed to the wall by T-Sack, but Joe's still there fighting with a fantastic shot on towards Robin, and it's all on that man. Unfortunately for him, T-Sack is apparently just insane. Bounces his way out, gliding through the air, and lands the shot.
Beautiful, beautiful stuff out of T-Sack, and consistently staying at the top of that scoreboard for his team. Boaster on the other side, though, on 25 kills, and the race continues between these two players. They're both kind of grabbing their teams, throwing them in the backpack and saying, come on, this is how we're going to do things right now. But we've got a double scout coming out from UE. Now, this screams to me desperate times call for desperate measures.
I mean, it is true, but as well, map like Dust 2, you have so much versatility with a weapon like the Scout. It really works very well, so there is potential. Obviously, on that CT side, you need to try and land those tags. The only beneficial factor as well, Joe, if they can just get that tag off, it will make their opponent so much more squishy and a lot easier for the rest of the side to potentially mop them up in a retake situation. But it's going to be hard. I mean, if you look at the utility as well, that's more of the key point. They don't have many smokes to work with here. Only 2 across the board, and 1 minute and 20 already in, and they've wasted 1 of them, so they've just got those final 2 left. It's going to be really hard to actually block out and buy themselves any time to work with.
Yeah, that's always one of the most difficult things about when you're going for this sort of force fight. You run out of utility very quickly, and especially on the CT side, once you're out of utility, it becomes very, very difficult. Yeah. And you usually find that CTs in that scenario just completely bail from the site, let it happen, and then go for the retake instead. But let's see how this one's going to play out. Is Dudley going to smoke over towards CT there, which kind of lends towards saying, okay, we're going for a B push here. And I think that information is now going to be well in the heads of the United Estonia, but I think this is the longest we've had all players alive for a round right now, as the jump scout coming on through from Chetty. Did manage to tag one, finds another one as well, but can't quite finish any of these kills off. I say that. T-Sack gets one onto Alexei as well, and it's 4 versus 3 now. But the rifles are slowly but surely dwindling right now for the working men, and this double scout strategy is more than working. Dudley on the site, though, he's still got an AK, and he can still find these headshots. We've seen Dudley step up already this game, and it's not going to happen again, unfortunately, for him. This silenced M4 will be more than enough for Mick to take out that final player. And United Estonia, they go for the double scout strategy, and it pays dividends for them. And actually, Going for a swag 7 in this one as well.
Yeah, the Zio play coming out here for Chetty. Let's see what he's actually going to be able to achieve with this. If we'll see that early aggression potentially towards lower, try and go for that face. Yeah, the smoke's going out. Seems like he might try and do so. Unfortunately for him, no one's going to be there to receive that loving gift of all of the pellets going into them. He'll actually try and work their way through mid as well. He's going to be aware of this. Luckily, he will actually catch out those footsteps. He can relay this information. You can see everyone starting to rotate early. But here's the big factor. That bomb towards short, they're going to peek out, try and do a little bit of damage towards the B-bomb site as well. Alexi getting overwhelmed, but somehow he's got the composure to just rip his way for everyone. Leaves Robin in the worst situation they could have possibly have hoped for into the round.
Yeah, and he's going to be found out by Chetty. Actually just get the kill though, so kind of gets away with that one, to be quite honest. And now Robin with the P250. He's going to be looking for a rifle, and he manages to find Alexi. Suddenly, he's in a 1 versus 2. This seems so much more manageable than he could have dreamed for, really. And I want to see whether he goes for a bluff here. No, he's just going to commit to the B site. Maybe he could have gone kind of for the double bluff, maybe go back through spawn. It's a long way round, but with a minute still on the clock, could have maybe gone for a push round long towards A, but gets away with things. And he has found himself on the B site with the bomb down, P250 in hand, but he's yet to find a rifle. And Joe finding that final headshot to win out the round. United Estonia starting to build up a little bit of a lead and starting to build up a little bit of an economy as well for themselves. And that is a scary, scary situation now for the working men. But it looks like, Jackie, we might just be about to see yet another full rifle round.
Yeah, they've still got that cash on their side. The economy looking kind of healthy right now. Obviously, it's going to put them in a little bit of a state of peril, but they'll be able to squeeze that one out. Should have full utility, so it's not going to be that bad. The AWP as well on Dudley, that's one of those main factors, because he is fairly consistently getting those open picks towards mid. He's been able to do so quite well. This time around, doesn't seem like he will, though. Has the information to let them know there's going to be 2 players towards B. Probably we'll just see that default coming out from the working men right now.
Yeah, and I think the fact that we see this slow default play kind of just says so much about how the working men are like, okay, actually, this is getting dicey now. This is where we need to step up, because United Estonia are just 4 rounds away from winning this first semi-final, or this first map at least. But let's remember, this is the 4th seed that's ahead right now. United Estonia, on paper, shouldn't be winning this. They lost both of their star players, and they're still making it happen. But here we go. I thought he was going to go for an actual peek there. I thought Joe was going to be able to get in with that AWP, but it's not quite going to happen just yet. The working men playing this basically as close to their chest as they can right now. But a good defensive setup for United Estonia should spot them out.
Yeah, this all rides on Boaster. He really is actually quite effective in this position. It's such a power play. Taps down, gets the tag up on towards Robin, which is good as well. He's bought himself a little bit of time to work with, has that information for his side, and it's thrown a bit of a spanner in the works for the play from the working men. They're going to start to reposition and see if they can change this up.
Yeah, and now I've got 30 seconds on the clock. Working men, it's now or never, and they are going to push it towards the safe side with Boaster to start things off. Joe gets a juicy little headshot as well as Boaster gets one. What? Gets the leg on the jumping no-scope and then gets a second jumping shot. Joe is back on form. That is how you win a round right there. And United Estonia, 13 rounds on the trot, and now working men, they don't have any money to work with. This is basically the last eco that they can afford to go for this game, period.
This is the last effort. And I mean, obviously as well, this is United Estonia's map pick. They always have been confident on Dust 2, but the working men, this is no map that they've never shown so much power on. They have a lot of presence on a map like Dust 2, so this is crazy that UE now, on this CT side, they're just manhandling them. They know how to shut them down. They're forcing them into a box. We've seen that with the vast style of play change for the working men. They don't want to go for these aggressive faces anymore. They're terrified of what's going to be on the other end, and right now they're just going to try and play it slow. They have these weapons. Robin's going to flash over, then they're just going to go for the push. Want to batter their way out long, overwhelm their opponents. But can they do so, or is this just going to be a bloodbath? Mick in pit, just tanking these one-taps with the M4. Obliterates everyone in front of him. Boaster as well comes into the fold with a nice 2K, and it's just T-Sack left. Flashbang out, wants to use his utility as he goes to the peak with a deagle, but isn't going to happen, unfortunately. Mick's there, and Mick was locked and loaded.
Yeah, plain and simple, coming out from United Estonia. Easy rounds, easy money, and they are going to be able to take yet another one on the scoreboard. 14 now, 1 away from match point, but the working men, they have finally something to work with. That eco last round has paid off, and now Dudley with that up. We've seen Dudley step up so already this game, and he's going to do it again as he gets a wallbang headshot onto Chetty. Kicks things off in style, and now Jacob pushing very aggressively towards Mick. T-Sack, though, finds Alex C. These CTs are running out of players.
That's the thing as well. T-Sack on his way towards the B bomb site and now has 100% information that B site is clear. They can start to back off and grab the bomb, but unfortunately they continued. They've overextended, stuck out longs. They went for that play before T-Sack had gone in towards B, and they've been taken down. It's going to be awkward now. They have to recover that bomb and begin to work their way back, but there's that seed of doubt, Joe. They're not sure if they've rotated over. Obviously, Boaster has CT on lockdown. The B site is clear, but they're now scared to try and risk it.
This is the thing. It's all about the mind games right now. It's all about trying to sell the fake, trying to convince your opponent that you're not going where you're going. But there we go. Mick does go down. That's just Robin's AK coming into play once more. And it looks like the rotation towards A could be the call here. Certainly don't want to give anything away. I think they're going to go towards short on this one. Maybe just go straight down long once more. I'm curious to see what the decision is in the end. Nice little smoke down towards mid. Two CTs still remaining. The M4 and the AWP very capable of taking out these two players that have been tagged down already. A single headshot will do from Boaster at this stage. But it's going to be all about Joe. Finds one for himself. He's got a couple of flashbangs to work with as well, so should be able to get the peek here. And he knows exactly where the player is. Can't quite find that shot though. And now it's all down to T-Sack.
Probably one the push out towards the site. He will actually get the first shot and the second as well. Somehow T-Sack's been able to get away with that. He bounced his way up, taken down Joe, and then flicked over to actually best Boaster as well. A round that was in the hand of UE. You've come down to a situation like that, and then T-Sack just pops off. So close to actually getting that 30 bomb.
6 HP he won that round with as well. And I was about to say before my throat collapsed in on itself, like, you know, he was in 1 versus 2.
Yeah.
But T-Sack is the player you want in that situation. That he is more than capable. And Dudley once more opens the round off right for the working men. And Dudley has been so consistent with those first frags down mid with the AWP. He's been so very good at finding those shots. And now United Estonia once more find themselves on the back foot. And if they lose this round, they're out of rifles at that point. Their economy is going to be in tatters. And the working men, they're building up momentum. They're managing to get things on the go. And I said, you know, the round before last, that was the last eco they could go for. It is paying absolute dividends for them.
Yeah, working out really well. Obviously, those two forces would have just put them in such an awkward spot. Boaster, though, he's got so much information now. Fry has worked his way out mid. Boaster can relay this over. Just has to hold his ground, really. He can't afford to try and go for the hero play, though. Not a lot to work with. Obviously, they're outnumbered, and it would just be awkward if he got taken down. Alex Z, will he keep up this aggression he's been on display towards the B-bomb site? Gets the opener. Chetty with one as well. Nice bit of damage from the dynamic duo, and they keep it up. B-bomb site is under lock and key, and no one is allowed in.
That is how you hold a site right there. Textbook example from Chetty, Alexi, and Boaster chimes in with one as well. And that means that United Estonia, they are on match point. And honestly, in this game, it's really not felt like the entry frag has meant that much, because these players consistently getting 2 or 3 kills, just flip the round on its head. And we've just seen that once more there. United Estonia do manage to take it. Match point, they've got an AWP in their hands, they've got rifles, and that's the extent of the force that the working men could put together here. P250s, Tech 9s, and a Galil. Not sure if it's going to be enough, but Robin is going to be trying to find one onto Joe. Can't connect his shots though. 4 versus 4 now. Dudley still with a rifle. It's Chetty trying to push it. Does get a nice little shot. And he's going to... No, this is the shot to Dudley. Disaster for the working men.
As well, Dudley, he had a bit of breathing room to work with, and he's done even more damage. He's got the shot off on towards Boaster. It's just Joe and Mick left. Mick hits the ground. Robin's going to be the one to put him into his grave, and Joe has to do it all on his lonesome. He could win the game right here and take that first map, but it's going to be hard. How's the smoke? 2 flashes to work with, and that kit as well. We can try and jump on the one with fake. He's going to go for it. See if Robin will go for the peek. He will do so. Wanted to try and go for the hold, hoping that he wouldn't try and commit on that. Expected him to come off, and Robin isn't going to be aware of that. Wanders straight in and puts him down. Look at the money as well on UE here.
Yeah, this is the situation that I wanted this game to get to. You know, where we've got UE, they're on 15 rounds, but they don't have the money to work with. They have to eco this one, and a couple of Deagles coming out as well. But the working men, they're not exactly rich. It's not like they're just on this unstoppable roll where they can just get rifles every single round. Like, look how little utility they have to work with, and a P90 in the hands of Jacob is not ideal. But look at these trades coming out. Fry finds one for himself onto Joe, and that is going to be UE just wiped out as Dudley and T-Sac chime in. And Chetty suddenly finds himself all alone on this survey. He does have the 5-7, but I'm not sure if it's quite going to be enough to take this fight, especially with Jacob in a P90. That is going to be a fairly simple round coming out for the working men. Now, I mentioned how they couldn't get these rifles out last time. Now they definitely can.
Yeah, the cash is there, but it's getting to the point where it has to be soon, Joe. All of this damage, putting them in this horrible spot, and they just can't get over that final hurdle. They've made it so far. They've climbed the distance, and now things have just gone a little bit awkward. This aggression as well really hasn't been paying off, but they're going to try it again. Play towards long. Luckily, those flashbangs alerted them just in time. They're able to back off and just play from the site. This won't give working men that much of a chance to actually get that first frag.
But this is such a crucial round now for UE. This is potentially their last rifle buy, and we could actually, there's a very real chance of seeing overtime at this moment. If the working men can just connect the shots, if they can deal with this scout from Chetty to deny those long-range tags, they're actually in a very, very nice spot for themselves. And if they win this one, United Estonia are going to have no money to talk about whatsoever. But again, a very slow, calculated push coming out from the working men. They don't want to throw this away. They know that they are also one loss away from losing this first map right now.
Well, this is the thing. They can't go for that sort of more aggressive style of CS they enjoy going for. They have to be so timid here, because a single mistake could throw away this entire first map, and it puts them in such a horrific spot to try and climb their way back throughout this best of 3. But for UE as well, they need to try and pick this one up. This is a situation where the working men definitely could have shut this best of 3 down in 2 maps. So UE, they need just 2 right now. And Jacob wants to catch him off guard, bursts his way through a smoke with a different entry as he just pops out, takes down Joe. Chetty will get the response though with a scout, but there's Mick hiding towards Gandalf. Great play, Boaster coming into fold as well. Mick keeping up the aggression, rails down Dudley, and it all rides on Robin. The bomb's planted for him, but look at the utility and look at the manpower they've got left. Mick just going to jump on it. Robin can't quite find it. 8 seconds, no kit to work with, but he's just going to hold that defuse, and this should be it. United Estonia should pick up this first round. Robin, the desperation play, but unfortunately won't work out, and UE take it with a 16-13 scoreline.
And there you have it. That is not the scoreline anyone was expecting for this one. Just take a look at Mick on this side. Finds that first entry, and then he's there for when that bomb's planted, he can get that second one, and that basically secured the round.
That was all Mick at that point. You needed him to actually go big from that position. There's been so many times throughout that first map where no one cleared Gandalf. They didn't want to overextend and check it just in case they went down. Had to try and just get that bomb plant. They were scared, as we were saying. It gets into these situations where you don't have a lot of time left. You need to do what you can right now. And Mick just used that to his advantage, popped out and took him down.
16-30. What a scoreline to kick things off with. And that's definitely the map that I was wanting to see to start things off. And I genuinely believe that could have gone to overtime, because with how back and forth it had been, so many force buys winning out the rounds, that easily could have gone the way of the working men in that round, in that final round. And Mick stepping up to the plate, making it happen for his team, and United Estonia now lead the series 1-0, which honestly, not words that I was fully expected to say. 4th seed coming in here.
And here's the thing, Cash is map 2. We've seen United Estonia on Cash.
Yeah.
They're the team that in the first week of the Premiership, when they were only 3 rounds up at the first half, it was a 12-3 half, they were able to climb their way back and receive that first victory.
Yeah.
So they're definitely a beast on a map like Cash. They're definitely a force to be reckoned with.
And this is, again, this lends to that playstyle. We were talking about it earlier. Dust 2, it's a map that very much is down to just raw mechanical skill. Same with Cash. It's a very similar style of map. It's that very open, long-range battles, and we'll see whether they can. Obviously, the working men, this is now their map pick, I believe. Is that? I believe that's correct.
The working men's map pick was Dust 2.
Oh, was right. Okay,
UE have actually. Oh no, sorry. Yeah, United Estonia did pick Dust 2. Sorry, yeah. Cash is the working men's.
Yeah. Okay. So, you know, with it being their map pick, we've seen. I mean, realistically, the working men, we've seen how dominant they were throughout the group stage. And I think, honestly, for me, it kind of rides on Robin at this stage, because Robin wasn't that huge fragger that we were expecting. You know, you talk about Robin, you immediately think, okay, shows up on land, is going to get these big frags. And like, I mean, we saw that game on Cobblestone. It was like, okay, Robin's going towards B. He will get 3 entries every single round. And he did. And that's the kind of Robin that I need to see come out here. And if we do see that, Working Men should be able to push this to a 3rd game.
I think a lot of it is as well, obviously, we said about Fry, it seemed like early on in the game, it wasn't too bad. He was able to sort of step things up quite early, but it was more of a slow burn. There was nothing really too great. Quite a few impact frags early to kick it off, but then it dwindled out, and it seemed like with Fry not being there as that secondary man, because it usually always was that combo. You had Robin and Fry that were the 2 men that you could rely on to just basically go for these hero plays and get away with it 90% of the time. And the fact Fry's obviously sort of 50-50 right now if he is actually going to be able to land those shots, because it seems like he just didn't have that great of a game on Dust 2. He needs to come into Cash strong, and then it relieves a little bit of that weight from sort of the other players' shoulders and brings it down to more of a level playing field.
And this, again, it's down to these individual players, and that kind of really goes back to the fact that these are mixed teams. This is down to raw individual talent, and so many times in that map we saw singular players just stepping up, single-handedly winning rounds, winning games. And honestly, like, even in that last moment where Robin was 1 versus 4 with the M4, the defuse was being channeled, but it was on a 10-second defuse. It wasn't that far-fetched to me to see Robin take that 1 versus 4. I've seen ridiculous things come out of that player before, and it easily was possible. But UE now getting ready for this next map. As you can see, they are 1-0 up in the series. The next map is not Cobblestone. It is, in fact, Cash. So we should be able to get that updated for you guys. But Cash, definitely a map that lends to these 2 teams' playstyle. And you can kind of see on the faces this kind of uncertainty of what's next. Like, I'm curious to see how much these teams kind of go for set pieces, whether they try and air in towards that more team-oriented play, or whether they stick to this, you know, just playing team deathmatch kind of style.
I mean, that's the thing. It lends to sort of more so that aggression. I did sort of promise you a bit of a bloodbath getting into this.
Well,
that's
they promised.
What we had.
They certainly gave us that for the first map. We'll see whether that continues.
I mean, it's the thing though, because as well, what's interesting for me is Joe seems to have a little bit of a shaky one, but what was nice is when he actually had the AWP in his hands, it was a little bit more flamboyant. He seemed quite organic in that role. And we haven't really seen Joe in more of a sort of competitive environment utilising the AWP much since sort of the Kaz esports days, whereas especially there's sort of a famous clip of him on Cash using that weapon where he was very fast with his flicks. So hopefully we can see some nice stuff from Joe here, potentially if he wants to whip out the AWP once again.
Yeah, and I think like one of the things as well is we did kind of see a glimpse of that from Joe. I think it was on the A site. He managed to get a couple of AWP shots, managed to get a couple of kills, and then jumped for the P250 kill at the end of the round. But just a couple of replays from that game, and that was a key moment. Jacob just mowing down 2 of the UE members, keeping his team in the game, and just, I think like there were so many highlights from this game. And I remember on this clip specifically, T-Sac was stuck in that corner. I remember you saying like he's in a really awkward spot, but it just doesn't matter because these players can step up and can make these rounds happen.
Yeah, and it's great to see T-Sac return to form. You know, he was one of these players that has been involved in the UK scene for so long, had quite a large departure, and then returning at the beginning of sort of the qualifiers for the Prem was the first time I've seen him back in our scene for a long time, and he's definitely shown up. And it's nice to have him back because we have this level of skill that definitely comes out for him. He's someone that's so fantastic to watch. It's quite organic, sort of very energetic CS from him.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see just consistent. I mean, we're like, what, 16 rounds into the game. We've had so many highlights. That's the kind of game this has been, and Boaster just... That round was exceptional. That was one of the best rounds of the game. Just Boaster single-handedly winning that pistol, and it was so crucial. And United Estonia ended up taking that entire half. If he hadn't won that pistol for his team, maybe that wouldn't have been the case.
And then when you look at that as well, obviously, that UMP play from Alexi, it's one of those things where he got away with such a crazy thing. Mid-reload, had to go for the peak. He needed to get 2 kills in that situation. You had to try and buy your teammates enough time to rotate over, and he did it. Not only did you get the first frag, and it would have been, okay, we can try and work our way back into this. He did what he could, which is just amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And, just look, I mean, so many situations where single players just annihilate the entire enemy team. But, I don't want to play-by-play the replays too much, but yeah, just such solid play coming out from both of these teams right now. And I mean, United Estonia, just this was the play that sealed the deal for them. Mick just stepping up to the plate, and I think it was even Mick that got the defuse at the end that actually won the game. That single
Obviously jumped on it as soon as because that smoke went down. Basically, the call was made to just smoke it, jump on the bomb straight away. They knew they had 10 seconds to work with there, and Robin so far away at long, an awkward angle. I mean, it's a 1 in a million that he's going to land that shot. Obviously, he's so awkward. The plant wasn't great as well for where he was, so a little bit awkward there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, while we wait for the players to get ready for the second map, we are going to go into a quick break, but we will be back in just 5 minutes for the second map in this semi-final. UE lead 1-0, and we're going to be heading on to Cash in just a few minutes' time.